Yeah, they said it's the best show in the whole wide world. I'm pretty sure many people disagree and many people will agree. It's still News Institute Sports. My name has not changed. I'm still Alige Adebowale. I have all the guys with me today, apart from Lion Car. And of course, this show is airing on Band Radio Scope, the #1 online radio in the whole of North America. Of course, on our YouTube channel, News Institute Sports, and on Spotify with Apple Podcasts. Guys, a roller coaster weekend, a lot of things happening. Kachi, I'm going to start with you to introduce yourself.
Marvelous sport fans, always a pleasure being here. I wanted to give, I wish you guys could be the fly on the wall and listen to us doing our pre-production call. I'm pretty sure it's even more exciting than the show itself. But one day we'll probably give you a backstage access to what we do. But beyond that, a pretty good week for Arsenal. Beaten by Southampton, who Chelsea beat, and then beating Chelsea and topping it off with Manchester United. They asked the Manchester United coach how much work is there for Eric Ten Hag, and he says a lot of work. All this will dissect. Stay tuned for a great show.
All right, perfect. Oluwaseyi.
Hello, sports fans around the world. Welcome to today's show. As Kachi said, there is quite a lot to be discussed on today's show. I'll just advise you to take a nice seat, probably with a cold, chilled drink, and listen to us and enjoy today's show.
All right, perfect. Wale.
Yeah, hello guys. Good day to you, wherever you are listening to us around the world. You know, there is something about sporting events and life in general that looks very similar. You know, if you find a very lazy worker, probably will get distracted at his work easily, and is thinking like, okay, when I get my next job, I'll start doing this thing properly. I won't be doing all this thing like this. Human being, I think we normally underrate the power of habits. I think that is the problem with the Brooklyn Nets. They just felt probably, okay, we get to the playoff, we turn it on, and we just become like this. No, I think it doesn't happen like that. And it's something that we can take to our personal life. If you want to change something about yourself, you rather start changing it where you are, not until where you get to the next stage. I think, okay, I'll just turn it up. It doesn't just work like that.
All right, perfect.
Welcome to the show once again.
Thank you very much, Lale, for that. And of course, we'll jump straight into the basketballing world right now, which is hot. Divergent opinion, difference of opinion among the analysts today. Myself being the head, the chief culprit of that, disagreeing with everybody that needs to be disagreed with. And Kachi, I'll just give a background view, right? The Brooklyn Nets is a project, and unfortunately, it never took off. It's a project that never flew, you know. And many things would be said. Last season, it was a big show of KD. It was the ineffectiveness of James Harden at the point. You know, it's the vaccine brouhaha of Kyrie Irving at the point, you know, and now the injury to Ben Simmons, and of course, to their woeful coach that lacks tactical discipline, lacks technical know-how, and you know, and the fact that even the mental, and I think I argued this with Olale behind closed curtains, the mental strength of KD compared to other big that we've seen in recent years. The biggest of them that I've ever seen, the Black Mamba, his mental strength is second to none. I would not even mention LeBron right now. It's going to be Black Mamba, the late Kobe Bryant. And we're looking on the flip side, going to Los Angeles, and we're seeing, I know you said it's a project. They won a championship, but I'm talking about the post-pandemic. I'm not talking about pandemic championship right now. And we see what they tried to do at the start of the season, and it failed woefully. And that's the same thing can be said of the LA Clippers as well. Looking at these three projects, Kachi, post-pandemic LA Lakers, the LA Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, which of these three will you say is the worst, and why?
It's a tough one, but I don't think we would have a good sample base if we don't include the pandemic, because they all have had 3 years to show what they could do. Let's not forget that the Brooklyn Nets, when they signed Kevin Durant, he had to sit the whole year, which was the bubble year, for him to recover. So if we look at it in that light, where we include that first year for all three franchises, I think I would probably say, and even though it hasn't actually ended, I'll probably say right now, maybe recency bias is affecting me, that the Brooklyn Nets is a bigger failure in that regard. The reason why I said that is they have not even gotten, I think in 3 years, they did not as much as make the Eastern Conference final when you compare that to what the Lakers and the LA Clippers have done. The Clippers, at the very least, got to the conference final last year in the West, bypassing who we thought were the favorites, the Utah Jazz, in spite of all the shenanigans with Paul George, the shenanigans with Kawhi Leonard. The Lakers can say at least they got a championship, and even though they failed spectacularly this year, they did it not resting on their oars. They wanted to get another championship. That was why they made such wholesome and drastic changes, forgetting that sometimes gelling and meshing well is also a key ingredient, because they brought a lot of ego into that team, and losing people who would sacrifice their statistics to help the Kings and AD make their numbers. For the Brooklyn Nets, however, Olawale mentioned one of the biggest issue, the fact that they felt they could just flip the switch and activate playoff mode almost immediately. That was one. Number two was the ineptitude of their coach. Number three, and probably the single biggest one for me, was the fact that nobody was holding anyone accountable in that Brooklyn Nets team. I mean, from the coach, from when the players were signed, to them going on air to say they don't even think they need a coach. That is a slight on the organization. No one reined them in. Nobody called them to even apologize. And even when Kyrie, because the reason why they are facing the Celtics in the first place as the 7th seed was because they had such a woeful regular season record. If someone had held Kyrie responsible and accountable, they probably would have been the number 2 seed in the East if they had all three of them playing. So for me, if we look at the 3 years and what they were able to achieve in spite of the dramas, I would say the Nets has failed spectacularly. The reason I say that is, come the end of this season, chances are that one of those big two will go. And then the role players, chances also are that just like the Lakers flushed out a lot of their role players, the Nets might be doing the same and pressing the reset button. So for me, in that particular order, it will be the Brooklyn Nets, it will be the LA Clippers, and I put the Lakers last simply because they got a championship in 3 years. That is really why I'm taking them off the hook, my opinion.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. And Olale, your own view about these projects, basically.
No, I think comparing the projects, all the projects, I think the LA Lakers project is not I don't think it's a failure. For the fact that they have a championship to show for it, it just probably takes them out of the whole thing. They might be having a disappointing season subsequently after that, but of course, there is a championship to show for it. That aside, for the Brooklyn Nets and the
Clippers.
The Clippers, there are many issues to look at if you want to look at it. But in some, just like Kachi said, there's no need to be going to looking at how dynamic, how talented Kyrie and Kevin Durant is. And for the fact that at the point in time, they were able to get James Harden into the team. And unfortunately, and they couldn't just like what Kachi said, lack of accountability, lack of leadership. If KD has probably intervened into his attitude of I just want to focus on playing basketball, I'll probably cost them their third star. If he actually sat James Harden down and probably sort out the difference between him and Kyrie, I'm sure James Harden would have stayed behind. And if they had the big three, because the problem with the Brooklyn Nets project is the team is not actually a balanced squad.
Yeah.
It was a team that was put together based on offensive abilities of their superstars. So the offensive abilities was supposed to cover up for any flaw they have when it comes to defending. Because if Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant could play to their ability, it is very difficult for any coach to set up any defensive any defensive strategy to stop the three. It will be practically impossible.
Okay.
So immediately one of the superstars is not available, it nullifies whatever they are doing. And in short, it's the biggest failure of probably in recent times of trying to put up superstars together. It is what it is. And I think they need a bit of reflection. I think KD as a player will have to take his career to his hand, not everything. You can't just be following Kyrie like a baby.
Everywhere.
Because one of the major problems they had when I was watching yesterday's game, the game was more of like a neutral ground. It wasn't there was no feel of an home team there. I don't think this would have happened if they were with the New York Knicks. And the initial plan was to sign with the New York Knicks. Yes. It was Kyrie, who is from the borough area, convinced KD, who just said yes, okay, we do this. And the same Kyrie, and that's the problem. Some people have with Kyrie with the vaccine mandate is this: you are responsible for this project. You should be the one making the biggest sacrifice. If there's anything that, like now, if you check the Celtics team, Al Horford and Jaylen Brown are not vaccinated. They are not vaccinated.
Unvaccinated, yes.
But I can tell you that if there was any law, just like we had in New York, those guys will have taken the vaccine for the sake of the team. That was what Kyrie couldn't do. And if you want to see yourself as the leader, leaders make sacrifice. Exactly. When you play in team sports, it's all about sacrifice. His inability to make those sacrifices at that point in time
is what has hurt
the mess
the Nets
where they are today and made their projects a very big failure. I'm not even sure if I'm the Brooklyn Nets today, if I can get Bradley Beal on free this thing, I'll call KD. It's all about this thing. I'm not signing Kyrie. Because you don't know what Kyrie will do next year. He might say next year now he needs another 6 or 8 weeks
to
break.
Rest.
That he's going through some things that nobody knows.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olale. And of course, looking at the Olale, I'm going to stay with you now. Looking at the couple of games that we've seen in the series right now, I'm pretty sure opinions have changed about certain teams, especially teams like the Orleans Pelican, who everybody typically think the Suns will sweep away. Boston taking the guns to the net and showing them who the balls really are. The way the Golden State Warriors are playing right now, of course, that's expected, given the players they have on their roster. An overview of at the Toronto Raptors with what they did against the 76ers, which it's a good one as well. Nobody's expecting them to qualify, but of course they gave an account of themselves. Looking over with what we have right now, in the East, probably let's start with the East right now. do you have a change of opinion on who will come out? The East versus the Hawk, the 76ers versus the Raptors, the Buck against the Bulls giving an account of themselves as well. Celtic sweeping the Nets into the dustbin right now. Olali, I'm going to stay
looking
with
at
you.
the East.
Yeah, looking at the East.
Yeah, looking at the East critically now at this point. My overall prediction about the East was is that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win.
Okay.
I still think they look like the favorites, despite the fact the injury to Chris Middleton. They won game 3 and game 4 with a lot of ease, without really breaking any sweat.
So
the
much
game 4 was so very easy for them. For the Chicago Bulls, I probably, for me, I predicted it was going to be a 4-0 sweep. But they were able to get game 2 and they played very well in game 1. But surprisingly, game 3 and game 4 at home, they play very, very terribly, as in very poorly. I don't know what's responsible for that. For the Celtics are the best team in NBA since the end of the All-Star games. There is something about that. For most people, I think there were divided opinions about who probably was going to win their series against the Nets, but nobody ever predicted that it was going to be
a sweep
because,
for them.
Of course, I'm sure they are going to win tomorrow's game, because I think the Brooklyn Nets, they've actually given up. So nobody actually predict, as in saw this coming, that they are going to do it with such ease. So I'm looking at that the matchup between them and the Milwaukee Bucks is going to be a hell of a game, because the Celtics are going to have the home court advantage.
Okay.
For Philadelphia, Philadelphia, let me just quickly for Philadelphia now. I think the injury to Joel Embiid might have some bits of, probably will change the way I felt the whole thing might go. I felt they are going to it's going to be tough against the Miami Heat in the semifinals, but I felt they are going to win. But now with Joel Embiid,
Joel is going for the surgery after the season.
But it drastically affects how
it might not be that. It might not really be that effective. It might affect his production.
Yeah, and of course,
I've not seen the kind of James Harden that can give me a bit of confidence that he can probably support. So as it looks for now, we might be seeing a Milwaukee Miami conference final, and probably for me, I will probably still go with the Milwaukee
Bucks again. Yeah, all right.
I think Giannis is on the mission.
Kachi, going to the West, the Suns. Okay, we don't have to talk much about the Suns, given that they're the Suns. The Mavericks and Jazz tied on 2-2 right now. The Warriors will sweep the Denver Nuggets, whichever way you want to see it. Whatever way you want to see it, even if they take the game 4, probably as expected. We're still on the third quarter right now, so anything can happen. But even if they take game 4, we know the Golden State Warriors are still going to qualify. And of course, the Grizzlies and the Wolves, the Timberwolves, they look to be a par as well. 2-2. Do you have a change of opinion right now for the final in the NBA, in the conference final, the Western Conference final?
Yes, and my change in opinion, because I initially expected the Phoenix Suns, who had the NBA best record, to make the Western Conference Finals and represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals.
Okay.
But the injury to Devin Booker significantly changes that, especially after watching the first 3 games and even the first half of Game 4 between the Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. Right now, I thought it was going to be a final between the Warriors and the Suns.
The Suns.
With the Suns winning in 7 games. But right now, I think everybody who wants to get to the Western Conference, want to represent the West, would have to go through Oakland and go through the Golden State Warriors. And that is simply because they have now gone, they've added 2 new stars to the Splash Brothers and Demon Green. As a matter of fact, I saw an acronym, and he said it was PTSD. That was the acronym. That was the acronym I saw. Some people will say, "Oh, it means post-traumatic stress disorder," but they said no. It's Poole, it's Trent Jr., it's Steph Curry, and it is Draymond Green, without even including. And that goes to show you how wide and how big. Clay is not even there because, of course, everybody's giving Clay time to recover. But in Gary Trent Jr. and in Jordan Poole, the Warriors have unearthed 2 potential gems that are making the Warriors virtually unplayable right now. And if we're going to do a star versus star matchup, if it's between the Suns and the Warriors, I think based on that, the Warriors have a slight edge. Of course, this is all hearsay. I mean, Devin Booker may come back right now and just go on a tear. But as it is, if there's no Devin Booker in the Suns, they may, is what I said, manage to get to the Western Conference Final. But if it is against the Warriors, I don't think they stand any chance. But then we'll have to give credit to Minnesota Timberwolves, who scraped through the play-in and then scraped out of the play-in as well. I think having that play-in tournament has given those guys a taste of what it means to play playoff basketball, which is a big success for Adam Silver and the NBA. The Wolves are giving Ja Morant-led Grizzlies a run for their money right now. We did not expect that series to be this close. I thought it was going to be a gentleman's sweep, 4-1, at best 4-2 for the Grizzlies. But this series might go all the way to 7.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
Which will play into their hands right now.
Yeah, Sheyi, I'm going to come to you. Looks like she is the only person on earth that gave Dillian White a chance against Tyson Fury. I'm annoyed that
I did not give him a chance.
He went past.
I did not give him a chance.
All right, perfect. All right. I'm even disappointed that it went beyond the 4th round. Sheyi, we knew this is what's going to happen anyways. But your overall assertion of the match, or the bout, quickly.
Yeah, Debo, you said Kachi gave
a little bit of
Dillian White a little bit of chance. I doubt that. Maybe he did it behind the scene. Okay, coming into this particular bout, we've known the build-up. Dillian White having issues with the split, not going for the press conference, not going for the pre-match conference and all that. But you expect him to turn up on the day to even put up a kind of fight to really show that he was angry about something. You understand that? But all through the fight, from the round 1 to the round 6, that the bout totally ended. We noticed that Dillian White is still Dillian White, trying to force his type of tactics against a skillful Tyson Fury. He was totally forcing the jabs. He was trying to use power against someone that has the reach and the height against you. So I think Tyson Fury just decided to give the fans a little bit of time to sit down, enjoy their meal, enjoy their drinks before eventually knocked out Dillian White. And what I could pick from that, what I could pick actually, Debo, from that bout is that Dillian White is still Dillian White. Dillian White has fought 28 bouts thereabouts. I think like 31. He's lost like 3 out of it. Guess what? He lost the 3 fights in the same fashion. Uppercuts all through. The first one was against Anthony Joshua in 2015. It was an uppercut that totally disrupted his senses, and from there was out. The same thing. It was overwhelming favorite against Povetkin 1. That was the fight that was supposed to set him up to meet Fury in the first place.
Mhm.
And in the,
Same
I think in the
uppercut.
5th round or 6th round, uppercut, and that was it. Dylan White was out. The
He's
same
old.
thing happened over the weekend. So it shows that Dylan White is a fighter that is very, very bad in defense. I just believe that going forward, anybody that fights Dylan White will just wait for that,
Oh, okay.
for him to just lose
Hold
the
on.
guard and
Hold
then
on,
give
Shay.
him the uppercut to knock him out.
Shay, I have a question. Does he still want to fight?
You still want to make money, I'm sure. So,
But
and another thing, Debo, is at the end of that fight, Tyson Fury claims that will be his last fight. That statement will actually throw a lot of problem into the WBC ranks.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the people under there now, I really don't, I don't see a worthy champion. I'm sorry to say, all the likes of Joe Joyce.
Sorry. Let me ask you a question. So if he retires now and vacates the belt, would we need to have a fight, or is it going to be to the next person?
Yeah, what's going to happen is there is going to be a fight for the belt.
Oh, okay.
Now that Dylan White is supposed to be the heir to that throne, lost this particular fight, he might not get the chance to fight for the belt because he just lost the chance to fight for the belt. But if his ranking gives him the opportunity to fight, then the next person below him, which I believe is, I think, Joe Joyce and the likes of Andy Ruiz is also still there.
Okay.
Yes. So there'll be a battle between the next two contenders. Of course, there's Deontay Wilder also there. So that is how it's going to be settled. And there will be a fight for the belt. Then we'll have a new champion.
That would be marvelous anyways. I will base my money, my everything on Deontay Wilder against Deontay Wilder cannot beat anybody in that division. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Honestly, he just wants to use his weight and the rest. He's not really skillful. You know, I've seen. Unfortunately for me, I was asking Kashi yesterday. I wanted to watch the match and see how woeful is going to be, and of course,
underwhelming.
And of course, to abuse Kachi again for saying he might even get one knock down. Okay, whatever. The only way we get that, like I said on the show last week, is if there is a free, I've gone back to using crack and cocaine. Anyways, Miguel Stewart won the Stuttgart Open, breezing past Sabalenka in the final in straight set 6-0-6-2, which is a good one for her. We'll go on a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll be jumping into the footballing world where we have so much, and I'm going to be starting with Olawale with Arsenal having a good week. Yeah, so Kachi, I'm going to come to you now, and then it's the ban, the purported ban of Russian and Belarusian tennis player from the Wimbledon Open. And I know I've said it. We said this before. The fact that it's crazy. Your thoughts on that quickly?
I still think it's crazy. I agree with what former world number one, the Djokovic, said about it. I personally don't like involving sports and politics together, because that ban, what it potentially means is that Daniel Medvedev may not be able to play at Wimbledon. I know I don't have the power to contest it, but it's something that I don't support. It sets a very bad precedence. But you can also argue that we've seen it happen before. If you remember, Yugoslavia excluded from the Euros in 1992, allowing Denmark to come in to do it. It will not be the first time it will happen. It will not be the last time, but it's just not something I support.
All right, Shay, do you support them, or you have an excuse for Wimbledon on this one?
No. And I just need to say something about what Kachi just said. I think Yugoslavia was exempted because that is the country. Yeah. Exactly. And another thing is, already this season, I think the ATP already banned Russia and Belarus to play as a country. These guys are playing as themselves, as an athlete. and they are actually not flying the flags of their country. Why stop them from athletes from actually earning a living because the president of their country decided to invade another country? I think that is totally out of place. And I've heard that the ATP and the WTA are really looking at reacting to this. We don't know what the extent of reaction they are going to also pull out, if they are also going to come with their own ban and fines against the LTA and the host of the Wimbledon. Let's see how it goes.
How
But I
that
don't stand
goes.
for that
All right.
ban.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Olale, you have an excuse for them, or this is
No. I'm surprised that everybody is shocked that this is happening. This is what they do, overreacting to everything, trying to claim they are the only saint people around the world. They are the only people who knows what is right from what is wrong. It makes no sense. These are people, like she said, these are guys representing themselves individually. Like what Kachi said about Yugoslavia, I think Yugoslavia even excused themselves.
so they excuse themselves. Olale, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think in conclusion, it's a bad precedence, and because we are still going to have multiple political conflicts around the world that will warrant this kind of action, and it might be countries that probably friendly countries to the United Kingdom, which they will not be able to take such decisions. They are setting themselves up for a disaster, and for me, I'm not surprised. They are hypocrites. That's who they are. They try to
they don't care. We've been seeing this since 1967. So, but don't let's go.
For me, I'm not surprised about their action. Everything is overreaction.
Okay, and so many dicey decisions going in their favor. Don't go anywhere, guys. Jumping straight into the footballing world right now, what we have a marvelous one, so to speak, for Arsenal. I'm going to start there for now. I'm a huge critic of Arteta, Mikel Arteta, not because of his footballing brain, but because of his man management. Let me just put it out there once again. And of course, he has shown in the past couple of weeks as well that he's deficient tactically as well, but not overtly deficient. Olale, we see Arsenal coming back thanks to individual errors, poor team selection by Chelsea, and of course, some poor officiating, or should I say, some decisions that could have easily gone against Arsenal in the past, going for them against Manchester United. Do we have another ball playing and looking good right now for Arsenal, particularly? And what do you think of their little run against United and Chelsea, games that probably we expected them to lose or not get maximum 3 points from?
Yeah, fantastic victories for Arsenal. Most especially the Chelsea win, because they have they have everything probably going against them prior to that match. Since they lost to what do you call it?
Crystal Palace
when what's the name of this Ghanaian guy?
Thomas Partey.
When he sustained that injury, and we all know how important he is to the squad. But unfortunately, what probably separates the what do you call it, the best coaches from, let me say, the ones that are trying to become the best is the ability to make those adjustments and not overcomplicating it.
For themselves.
They say not overcomplicating things. What we saw then was against Brighton, Arsenal couldn't really compete in the central midfield. There was a bit of disaster trying to draft. You playing Granit Xhaka on the left as a left back, and playing Odegaard a little bit too deeper. Which was which didn't really suit them. So it took him like 2 or 3 games to figure out that he has another central midfielder in Eleni, who probably bring a lot of stability back into the team. And for the Chelsea game, even though there were some errors in those goals, they really deserved it. Arsenal pressed Chelsea very high. They denied them the space. I think they showed that their young blood, as in that youthfulness in the team.
Yeah,
we saw it coming to play. They had the control of that game, and they had a deserved victory against United. I don't think you need a soothsayer to predict that Arsenal should ordinarily win the game. United, if you watch United game prior to that, a week before against Norwich City, they were just all over the place. United are just too easy to play against now. Ronaldo probably out of this one wanted to make, what do you call it? It wasn't really a perfect game for Arsenal. Tavares with some schoolboy errors here and there. Ronaldo single-handedly trying to make some
a contest out of
but,
it.
but if you still look at it, the balance of everything that happens, how Arsenal started the game, you still feel like that is the right result. The right team actually won. And we thought with Spurs not probably becoming a big.
I don't want to ask you about sports, Lale. Please just stick to Arsenal. Leave sports out of this for a second.
No, I'm just trying to relate it.
Don't relate it. Don't say
sorry.
about sports.
Okay. So for now, good for Arsenal. They are in control of their destiny now. All they need to do is to keep winning and avoid a loss anytime they visit the Tottenham Stadium.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Lale. Sheyi, before I go to other things, I just want to ask you a question. And my two questions are two things that Manchester United needs, and they tend not to do. Ronaldo loved the crosses into the box. Nobody's giving in that. He has complained about that over time, but nobody's doing that. Number two is the fact that everybody seems to think Juan Mata is the oldest guy on the block. And I still see, I think he's 32 years old or 33 years old. He's not the oldest human being. We saw what that receiver did before he left Manchester City. And the third thing is what came into fore with Manchester United, stepping back a little bit before signing Bruno Fernandes. They were supposed to sign Bruno Fernandes over the summer. They waited on to January because during the analysis, they found out that Bruno Fernandes tend to lose balls, misplay passes, lose concentration or focus in the middle of the park, which sometimes could potentially be of disadvantage to any team that is playing for. And we saw that in the case of the third goal. Shay, I want you to answer one after the other quickly.
Okay. You started with the Ronaldo
wanting
question.
Crosses, yeah, and
wanting crosses into the box so that he can do the needful. And I think there's quite a lot of confusion in that team, and it starts even from the defense. I think before Rangnick, we happened to see quite a lot of Luke Shaw running, busting forward and getting the cross into the box. To use Alex Telles. He also happened to be a good crosser of the ball.
Yeah.
But suddenly, I think the mix of the people running from the wings is just the issue for Rangnick at the moment. But basically, it's a no-brainer. You have a Ronaldo, 37-year-old, that has scored as much as 20 goals in a season for a team that is underperforming. Why not find a way to create service and get it across to him? That right now is one of the issues we have in Manchester United. Probably that will be sorted out next season, hopefully.
To Juan
Mata, I think Juan Mata, we know Juan Mata is a little magician. And I wonder why they bring in Juan Mata for 5 minutes to come and do the magic they feel he can do in 5 minutes. The issue about Manchester United is that particular way they want to play, and they don't see Juan Mata as a key aspect of it. And that has been the reason why Juan Mata has not really been playing for Manchester United. I think we've seen Juan Mata even better recently under Rangnick,
exactly.
So I guess during Ole actually wanted to play a counter-attack football. Juan Mata is not going to function that kind of system. You and I know that. So I understand that part. Of course, we criticize that. Olawale can attest to that. But with Rangnick that really wants to play football the way it should be played, which I think that's the reason why he has the likes of Dallo on the right flank, which personally for me in this season, I disagree with that. But he still plays him and he plays Alex Telex that also likes to go forward, not really to defend. I guess the best type of 10 to play in that team is Juan Mata. But also, we should not forget that this is the Premier League. The aged actually suffers in this particular league. So for that, that's a big question mark over Guamata.
And
The
Bruno
third
Fernandes.
question is about Bruno Fernandes, and I think I should just quickly,
Yeah,
talk
because
about that.
just to put it, Olawale's best friend, Babatunde Adeleke, always talks about it, and you feel sometimes you feel he's a madman, but at a point, you just look at the point. I'm like, okay, it does not make so much sense, but sometimes
but at times it makes sense.
Sense in it.
I totally agree with you, Debo, and I've always been reading. When I see him send up the charts, I like to read because at times he says off point, at times it's just spot on. But the thing about Bruno is that, and the thing about every player in the world is about statistics. If there was a time we had this also discussion about Ronaldo holding up the play of Manchester United earlier in the season, but this Ronaldo keeps being the guy that comes up with the goods. So what do you say about that? I think when we talk about the statistics about Bruno, even before Ronaldo, Bruno has actually carried the Manchester United team. And there's something about when you have a player that really contributes more than others. That is where the problem is. The likes of Pogba that are supposed to support Bruno when he drops the ball, the likes of Fred that are supposed to pick up the ball, chase every guy all around the field, they also drop passes. In fact, they make their own mistakes in more terrible positions than Bruno. If you notice, they do. Bruno actually even recovers better than these guys. So what I'm trying to say is that the team is broken. The team is just the whole team. If you have a fantastic four behind Bruno, when Bruno loses the passes, he chases it down. That was the reason why they had what's his name?
The
Man City old man.
Fernandinho.
Fernandinho during the days of David Silva. And now you have
Rodri.
Rodri doing the same thing.
I
know Lawale has played it.
No, you see, I don't want to say much about this stuff because there's just one thing I just want to say. The problem with the United setup is this. This orientation of a defensive midfielder should be the one doing the defending. It is where the problem is. Go and look at Liverpool. Go and look at Man City. Debo, you were saying something about how what do you call it? David Silva to operate in the central position. Do you know David Silva works hard better than any of Manchester United midfielders? That is the problem. Bruno just wants to play as a number 10. Pogba just wants to play like a number 10. Nobody's ready to put in the shift. Nobody's ready to do the pressing. And that was in as much as Rodney might have some of his faults. But the fact that the board has a problem. Bruno now is probably going through one of the worst period in United since he signed. But you just gave him an improved contract on what basis now?
For the things that he has done.
But what about the signs we are seeing now? You are not putting that into consideration. There's where I'm trying to point out.
Okay.
Most of these players feel like they are very, very important. Like they have access to the board. I saw one particular news somewhere that immediately they heard that Ragnick is going to be on a temporary basis. Most of them don't accept the instruction he gives them in training in terms of this how we want to play. They are too lazy to play that kind of football. Most United players cannot play on that place. I'm telling you, they are not hardworking.
All right, perfect. Kachi, I'm gonna come to you now. So ETH, for the first time I saw it, I'm like, Ethereum is coming to football. But they told me it's not Ethereum is coming to Manchester United. And we've seen what he has done in the past. Worked closely with Pep Guardiola, got to the semi-final with a youthful Ajax to the semi-final of the Champions League. Won league couple of times. Won the KMBVN Cup as well in Holland, and there's a huge expectation on this young man coming to Manchester United next season. What should be the enabling environment for Ethereum 1.0 to succeed at Manchester United?
The first thing is they should give him full guarantee that he has at least 3 years to implement his ideas, because the cankerworm right now in the Manchester United fabric has eaten so deep that 2 to 3 signings or one signing, one transfer window will not be enough to
shape this up,
to compensate, or shape up the team in the image of Erik ten Hag. So he needs to be certain that he has time to do that, which is what Guardiola enjoys, which is what Klopp enjoys. Let's not forget that when Klopp came to Liverpool, he was losing a 4-goal advantage to Crystal Palace. If you remember, then this team wasn't yet in his image. He inherited a bunch of players and he had to do some overhauling.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing they need to do is they need to stop issuing out contract extensions right now. They knew they needed a new coach, and I think Olawale Osei alluded to it. They went to give Bruno Fernandes that massive extension.
What if the new coach doesn't like him?
Exactly my point. What if Bruno Fernandes is not the type of player he wants to build his team around? You have already shot yourself in the foot by hemorrhaging a 3-year contract to that guy. And it's decent when he's played with the right set of people and he has the right mindset. So for him to succeed, he has to have the confidence that there will be no pressure for me to fail. You see the kind of capital that Xavi is enjoying in Barcelona, that they can lose to Rayo Vallecano, they can lose to Eintracht Frankfurt, and no one is calling for his head. That is what Erik ten Hag needs, number
right
one.
Now.
Number two, you see the kind of say that Pep and Klopp has in players signed. You just don't sign any. You just don't come and say, I have $150 million to sign players this year, and you just sign arbitrarily. He has to be involved. It has to be players he identifies. We've noticed that this was the issue with Manchester United. And the first person that told us this was the issue was my very good friend, someone I love very much, in Jose Mourinho, that I identify players, but the United board was not buying them for me. That does not have to be the story this time around. Once they can get those three things first, and I'm not saying those are the only 3 things, but once he has that assurance that my project has time to develop, I will be actively involved in personnel signing, and don't give anybody any contract extension until I ask. We can see how what's his name? Mo Salah cannot blackmail Liverpool. Why? Because Pep identified potential replacements such that if Mo Salah should leave right now, Liverpool is still in very good hands because he has brought in players in the likes of Luis Diaz. We've seen what Thiago Silva has done since he came in and is fully fit, transforming that midfield. Those that want to go should go, but anybody coming in should be in the mode.
Thiago Alcantara, not Thiago Silva. Thiago Alcantara.
No, I said Thiago Silva. Thiago Alcantara. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Thiago. I should probably have just said Thiago, but all I'm pretty much trying to say, and I'm not a Man U fan, and I don't spend so much time looking at what happens in Carrington, but all I need to say is he must be involved in who comes in. He would not just give them a list and then they will be like, well, we still need to sell jerseys, so we still need to bring in this fan.
We don't want Ivan Perisic.
You know, that kind
of.
We
don't want Ivan Perisic. You remember, ba?
Yeah,
you remember
that was a big thing. Mourinho needed Ivan Perisic to come in because that was a Mourinho kind of player. He would have done.
And to combine him with Lukaku, that was just it.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Olale, I'm going to come to you now. Bayern Munich won their 10th straight German bully. Not surprised.
Congratulations to Alfonso Davies.
Of course, Alfonso Davies. It's not
probably Alfonso Davies because probably the first Canadian player to win the German league. I think that should be the right. That should be right.
It's not.
I think outside that, is there any other news?
It's not surprising, but right now we're seeing you made me forget what I want to say. Lewandowski winning the highest goal scorer if he does win, because right now he's 12 goals ahead of Shenik, who is behind him. 12 goals. This is going to be the 5th time he has broken the record of Gerd Müller last season. Now he's going to be a step ahead. While Müller is on 17 assists right now. He owns the record for the most assists in the history of German league for 21 assists. And they have like 3 or 4 games left. So potentially Müller could be doing this as well. But at this point, is there something to make this league a little bit more competitive? And we don't see a single winner in 10 seasons. That's crazy.
It's the desire. And when see, you have this kind of things when other teams in the league feel like Bayern is like a big brother to them. There was a time when Borussia Dortmund had a lot of financial issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I can't hear you very well, Ali.
Yeah, I said there was a time when Borussia Dortmund had a lot of financial issues.
Yeah, great.
It wasn't a secret that Bayern actually
bailed them out.
Part of the people that bailed them out. I think what we've been saying in the past that we've probably not been saying of recent is one team somewhere with some proper youth development and being able to keep their youth players for like 3 or 4 years, we probably spring up in some of those years where Bayern are not really at their best.
Yeah,
and probably come and nick the league. But we've not been able to see that because right from history, most German teams cannot compete with Bayern. It's like a league that everybody's just financially, everybody's just here to feed Bayern. They don't even drag them. Oliver, their goalkeeper was signed for Schalke for when probably Schalke was a bit formidable.
Yeah.
We all remember the Michael Ballack of these days. The Michael Ballack of these days.
Roberto.
All these players, they don't even sweat. You know, if Man United will sign player from Tottenham, you know how you are going to sweat before you get that player.
Yeah.
When they don't sweat, it's just like, okay, how far now? Is this guy available now? Okay, bring money now.
Mario Goza. All right, perfect.
But it's getting boring, and I think it's already affecting them in the Champions League.
Champions League as well.
You could see that intensity even against the Red Bull Salzburg. That first leg, they were beat not up to it because when you play in a league where it's the same thing happens to PSG.
Yeah.
PSG, they are not playing a competitive league. When they jump into that second round stage of the Champions League, it's a different thing entirely.
Different thing entirely.
So I just hope something can be done. We can just probably Borussia Dortmund at least
come up with something.
It a bit difficult. Even if they are going to win. Now it's more like a routine thing.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olali. And of course, Kachi, I'm going to come to you. The Bayern Munich currently have 75 points, having played 31 games. They still about 7 games or thereabouts left to be played in the bully. And the close person following them was on 63 points. That's about 12 points gap between them and Borussia Dortmund. And they've defeated Borussia Dortmund over the weekend to secure the league yet again. But actually, I'm going to come to you. PSG has won their own 10th equaling record league title with Saint-Etienne. Messi scoring 1 goal, Neymar assisting against Lens. But we're seeing, do you think this will be able to save the job of Mauricio Pochettino, who, of course, is no secret, was disappointed I did not get the Manchester United job? Kachi?
I don't think it will be enough to save Pochettino's career. Based on the news and feelers I received today, Antonio Conte has already pitched himself to the PSG management that he will be interested if that position becomes vacant. But first, let's say big congratulations to Mauricio Pochettino. This is his first title
Oh, wow, that's good.
as a coach. So
Woo.
we hope it bodes good and better things for him. Just a funny joke, well, not a joke, a funny story I saw. They sell some memorabilia of clubs in England, and I saw the one for Manchester United. And at the back of each memorabilia, they put all the honors of the club. And Manchester United had a full page, back page. Manchester City had a full back page. Arsenal had a full back page, and Tottenham Hotspur only had the Tottenham Hotspur logo on the back page with no honor. So it's a good thing that Pochettino is getting something outside of Spurs, but it's not enough. They lost to teams they probably wouldn't have lost to before. They lost in the Coupe
Yeah.
to France or as well, which is something they weren't doing very often. PSG lost 4 games, which is unlike them, particularly. I think also the fact that they did not perform well
In the
in
Champions League.
the Champions League also plays a part. And to let you know that Pochettino would most likely not stay. The last 15 minutes of the game they drew over the weekend, the PSG ultras, the most ardent supporters, instead of staying back to celebrate the championship with the team, left the stadium in protest. That lets you know how, because sometimes if you want to know what senior management think, you need to look at what the ultras are doing, because you may think they are just called ultras. The truth is they have the ears and
Of the
eyes of the
management.
senior management. So I don't think it's enough. I think it's job well done, but it has to now probably go to Germany and try and make that German Farmers League a bit more competitive right now. I think Antonio Conte, if he does not get a Champions League spot in Spurs, if he finishes 5th or 6th, would definitely be the next person in France. Congratulations to Messi. If he had scored 2 more goals, maybe he would have been in conversation for the Ballon d'Or and what footballer of the year. But
All
I
right.
don't think that's just me.
Just to put it out, there are rumors are right now that the Qataris wants to leave PSG. This is something we might be saying. Hopefully not for the sake of Champions League football, but probably we could be seeing that potentially. And Chris Coleman has won a league title for every season that he had since he has become a professional with Juventus, PSG, and of course Bayern Munich. And of course, to the Champions League now. Predictions time for the Champions League and your analysis for the Champions League. Ali, I'm going to start with you. City playing at home against Real Madrid. What is your prediction?
Just prediction, or you want me to delve into?
Yeah, delve into it a little bit and tell us what your predictions are.
City are playing at home.
Yeah, City are playing at home at the LTR Stadium.
Now, I feel it's a game.
You need to come a little bit closer. I can hear you very well.
Yeah, I think one unique thing about this Real Madrid team, why they are very dangerous for City, is they don't have to play at their best before getting the results. They are very clinical up front. Their transition from defense midfield to attack is very, very good. They can stand the pressure. They are guys who are very comfortable on the ball. But I think City has a myth. I think City are going to pass them into submission. That is very guaranteed. My problem with City is going to be how clinical are they going to be on that day, and how far can they keep their concentration in check, because Karim Benzema just need half chance for him to bury City. But I just think City might just have too much for them in this encounter. I'm probably seeing a 2-0 City.
2-0 City. All right, perfect. Shay, what about you? Are you looking at 2-0 City as well? Or something else?
Just to add to what Olawale's analysis of the game in total, I think City's Achilles heel would be their defense. He just mentioned about the fluidity of Real Madrid attack. The way they just attack from defense, Modric can move ball from one half to the other with a
Uh-huh.
final pass that can actually kill the game. And also, if you have to look at the Man City defense right now, okay, thank God
Ruben
they are
Diaz is
having
back.
Ruben Diaz back, but they have Cancelo is suspended and Walker is injured at the moment. So I'm seeing a possibility of them having their wing backs as their weakness in this particular match.
Hmm.
Of course, let's see how that turns out. But I think it's going to be a high scoring
So what's your prediction
match, probably a 3-2
in favor of City?
win for City.
Okay, all right, perfect. Kachi.
In spite of all the injuries that Pep Guardiola wanted us to believe, saying after the Liverpool FA Cup semi-final game that they had 72 treatments, so 72 different injuries. I don't know how true that is and how possible it is. And the fact that they were able to rest players against Watford and still get the job done, I expect City to win it. But that does not mean that Madrid's individual brilliance may not come up. It is not a game I expect City to lose, although it will not come as a rude shock if it happens. I'm not saying it will. I think City wins this 3-1.
All right, perfect. And I'm calling out a draw of my own part. I would say
Scoreline.
I'll say 2-2 draw. I'm pretty sure
Wow. Wow.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be
I
wrong,
will,
but
I will interact you. I will interact you something if that is the
oh wow,
correct result.
yeah. I'm richer. Kachi said that because you know obviously I'm not gonna win. So and of course Liverpool going in for their 7th title, trying to equal Milan, are playing against Villarreal away from home. Kachi, Villarreal, Liverpool. Villarreal looks like the crazy team right now.
Yes, they are the giant slayers. And I think they will bring the game to Liverpool, but I think that will play into Liverpool's hand. You don't really need to bring the game against them. They are very organized, probably the best organized team compared to Bayern Munich and Juventus that Villarreal faced. It will be a big result if Villarreal gets a draw, which is what I think it will be. But that's what my head says it will be. But because I'm also on the show and I don't like score draws, I think I'll give this 3-2 to Liverpool.
Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure Villarreal cannot score 2 goals? Are you sure they can score 2 goals?
They can get 2 goals. If
against Liverpool?
Danjuma would go, don't even be surprised. I like to root for Nigeria. Chukwueze would also get another goal. It will be consolatory. At that time, it will be 3-1, and Chukwueze will get a goal to make it 3-2.
Okay, all right, Shay. What about you? Do you agree with Kachi? I don't agree with Kachi anyway. I don't think Villarreal can score 2 goals.
Okay, I think we mentioned earlier in the season, in the second half of the season, that Villarreal are actually turning into Atletico Madrid. I think Gable's former coach is doing wonders in Villarreal. I want to remind him that he's doing wonders with Villarreal, winning the Europa League and also doing what they are doing at the moment in the Champions League is it's mind blowing. I think they will also cost Liverpool's high defense a big problem. Danjuma is going to cause them a big problem. But all that being said, I still think Liverpool is going to hedge this. Might be a 2-1 win on this particular night,
Okay.
first leg.
All right, perfect. What about you, Alali?
Yeah, we have to give a lot of. We need to give a lot of respect. Let me say,
I can't hear you, Alali. I can't hear you.
I said, we have to admire whatever Villarreal have done so far this season. I think alongside Real Madrid, looking at the journey so far, especially from the second round, they had to they defeated the favorite Juventus in the second round. Same thing, Bayern Munich. Against Liverpool, just like Sheyi said, the high line defense. These guys are Spaniards, very intelligent. But something just tell me Liverpool are in a probably different mood right now. and knowing the fact that I'm sure they are aware of what Villarreal have done in the previous round, something tells me Liverpool is going to blow them away, like a 4-0.
4-0. Okay, and for me, I'll call it 3-1. Sorry, a 3-0 victory for Liverpool. And of course, Ronaldo still remains the highest goal scorer in the history of the Champions League, 140 goals, and he has the most appearances, equally has the most assists in the Champions League as well. So it's Ronaldo show. I probably would not be in the Champions League next season anyways, but at least for now, he is a show. Derby County, against all odds and all their fights, went down in the championship. Oldham fans has come out to fight against their own football management for mismanagement of the club, and they are not in any way, form or fashion happy with the ownership, the owners of the club right now, and how it's being run. And according to reports being monitored, we could be seeing the signing off of Chelsea within the week. So Chelsea could have a new owner within the week. Don't forget Serena Williams and Lewis Hamilton are putting money on the table to join in the ownership of Chelsea Football Club. Lewis Hamilton, for all you know, is an Arsenal fan, but of course, he wants to buy Chelsea, and Verstappen has come out to say he will not do that to a club that he loves. Kachi, Tottenham Hotspur did a Spurs again. They just needed to win the London Derby, and they were lucky enough to even get off with a draw in the said match. Do you think? Because honestly, I don't like them, but I'm rooting for them to get a fourth position because of Antonio Conte. Do you think this is going to happen at the end of come end of the season?
It's not in their hands. You said, I mean, they also almost lost this game to Brentford. If that last header, I can't remember his name now. I definitely
Ivan.
Yeah, if that last header that hit the bar had gone in, I mean, this is not what we'll be saying. Tottenham left the door open. Well, I should say Arsenal left the door open for Tottenham. Now Tottenham has left the door wide open for Arsenal as well. Their destiny is not in their hands. It is very likely, and that is why Antonio Conte started pitching himself to PSG. All Arsenal has to do in the remaining 4 to 5 games is win out and don't just lose against Spurs, which is doable. They don't have that fortitude, so to speak, that they used to have in the past. But yeah, it's just who Tottenham is. That's why they only have their logo at the back of the products that they were selling in the.
All right, perfect. Sheyi, at the start of the year, we saw Newcastle languishing in the bottom half of the league. And Bruno is losing the penalty. Bruno in the last 3 games has scored 4 goals and created an assist as well. Right now, at the kickoff on Sunday, Newcastle on 9th position. At the end of the day, they were on 10th position. Who would have thought? And how much of credit should we give to Eddie Howe for the job he has done so far with Newcastle?
Yeah, as in fantastic job done by Eddie Howe in just how many months? 3 to 4 months. I recall in January we actually had this discussion also about what is going to happen. Are they going to stay up, or are they going to go down and to start all over? But we mentioned the signings that Eddie Howe did immediately he took over, getting those players he needs for this particular moment. And guess what? They've actually replicated what they believe he has put in them. The likes of
Bruno Gomez,
Bruno Gomares, unfortunately, what's it called? The
Trippier.
English, Trippier got injured, but you can see what he actually puts into the team before he got injured. And also, you also want to believe that even though the guy is injured, he's one of the most experienced players in that team. He will also be in the dressing room, putting in the team talks and helping the coach to pass the message to the younger guys. So I guess that is what he did when he came in. And imagine they're in the top half of the Premier League. I think this is almost like
so you give Eddie, what will you give Eddie now? 80%, 70%, 90%?
Debo, you have to give him like 85%. What he has done is magical. Is magical because in January, if you are fighting relegation in January, you are not supposed to be in the top half. This is the Premier League.
So
we need to really comment.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Olali, I'm going to come to you now. We seem to say what's this guy's name? Roma Lukaku is not so good with what he has done, blah blah blah. But he has shown in a couple of games that he can come into the game and win a penalty, So Lukaku came in, did a little bit of wonder for them, got the assist, win the penalty for them. He did the same thing against Aston Villa. This same season, won them against, got them a goal against, I believe, Brighton and Hove. How do you think at this point, probably Lukaku could help them in the runoff to stabilize their top 3 finish, and of course probably win them the FA Cup trophy as well?
Of course, he can do that, but that is if the coach actually probably have any little confidence in his ability to do that. I think the problem presently at Chelsea is not the problem whether Lukaku is talented. First of all, let me point out, I'm probably not a fan of the Lukaku style of play, but I will not come here to deny the fact that Lukaku is not a scrub. Lukaku is a proper elite striker. Let me use that word. He's an elite striker. If put in a proper environment and play to his strength, he's going to get you goals. Prior to his injury, when he came to Chelsea, when he arrived at Chelsea, he was probably doing okay. But the reason why I think it was not that productive was down to more of the way Chelsea plays, not that Lukaku himself. For whatever, since Lukaku, for the games Chelsea might come one or two games, score like 4 or 5 goals. But the problem with the team is still there. It's the creative hub. As far as they play that 3-5 to give them that solidity in terms of defense. But I think their major problem is
the creativity.
The CM, there are 2 CM1. Then the attacking midfielders playing behind Lukaku. Mount, for all his indoor work rate, is not the most intelligent attacking midfielder. There are times, if you watch Lukaku very well, there are times you see him using his hand to point that I expect the ball around this place. You see Mason Mount just shooting the ball. So it's just a matter of the way they set up. Lukaku didn't start today's game. Neither was he a few games before the after game against Brentford. He didn't start. So it's not like Lukaku is that major problem. He was injured and they figure out a way of playing and this.
Without him.
It depends on what the coach actually feels and how if he feels like Lukaku can help him, fine. I think he's available to do that. The only Lukaku probably saga in Chelsea is still a bit confusing to me as I stand now because I think the guy is not the problem. The problem is deeper and it's had to do with the setup of the team.
Yeah, and for anybody that cares to listen, I'm against the setup of Chelsea. I think Chelsea should be contending for the championship. I think they should be doing better than they are doing right now. But playing the 3-5-2 or the 5 at the back technically is not going to solve the problem. If as a coach, because Ben Chilwell and Reece James had injury at the time after the Juventus game, the Champions League, there's a reason why there's a collapse, so to speak. Then the coach should look inwardly and see how he can do. Because we spoke about Arteta and the management of team. If something is not working as a good coach, look for an alternative. You can't stick to just one plan. But of course, Nemesis is catching up with Everton right now. Liverpool sends agent 2.0 to Everton to ensure that he gets relegated. They brought in Lamps, and Lamps is not doing a very good job right now, honestly, if you ask me. Burnley winning is a catastrophic result for Everton and Leeds United. The two of them. What do you think will go down at the end of the day? At the end of the day, Burnley, Everton, and Burnley, Everton, and Leeds United, because they look to be struggling between the three of them right now. 29, 31, 33. That's what their points look like right now.
My heart wants it to be Burnley, simply because I want to continue to see more Merseyside derbies. This weekend, Merseyside derby was the 128th, I think, time that they will face each other in the Premier League, and I want that to continue. However, results have not shown that they can do that. As sad as it may sound, one win in 9, one win in 11, I think, tells me that Lamp is way over his head with the Everton job, and that's really why someone like Wayne Rooney says he don't take his time is now to coach a big team, because you still need that emotional intelligence, which I think Frank Lampard is lacking. As much as I want it to be Burnley, I think it will be Everton, because I mean they have 4 games to save their skin, but they've not shown me they can do it. Burnley, we know, can grind out results.
No, they have 6. They have 6.
They have 6 games. They have 6 games to save their skin. The month of May will be really critical. Ask me this question again if they do well in the first game in May. But if they lose again in May, I think it's Arrivederci for Everton.
Oh, and unfortunately for Everton, their next game is going to be against Chelsea at Goodison Park. Next, they travel to Leicester City. Then they host Watford. Then they travel to Watford, and they're going to be hosting Brentford. Then host Crystal Palace. Then on the final day, host Arsenal, that is going to be chasing the champions. So it does not look too good for. She is telling me behind closed doors that Leeds is going down. It's not going to be either Burnley or Everton. that's going to be an interesting one, if you ask me. And of course, Burnley won 1-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Origi scoring the 6th goal in 10 games in 10 Merseyside derby for Liverpool FC. But the real question, Shay, is this: if you are Deco Origi, are you going to be churning out that kind of appearances for your coach, knowing that he's never going to use you, or he does not trust you enough to use you? And my second question would be: do you think the management level of Klopp is so top notch that a player that does not play when the chips are not down still churns out this kind of performances for the coach? I'm not going to say for the club. I'm going to say for the coach right now. Quickly, Shay.
I'd like to start by saying Origi is a legend. He's a Liverpool legend. And it's mind-blowing to have that kind of player to sit on the bench, and every time he comes on, he's scoring important goals, not just goals, important goals. Klopp's problem is that he has a system he plays, and he buys the players for that particular system. And you can agree with me that Origi is not the typical player for that system. But 100%. He still needs Origi when the chips are down. So it's just like a marriage made in heaven. If the concubine decides to leave, there will be problem. So talking about management of club, I think this is a particular situation he needs to write in a book, maybe later after his career, or maybe sometimes during his career. I think I would like to read it, to be able to keep that kind of player for so long in that team. I still don't understand how he does it. And Origi himself is a very dangerous striker. We've seen the type of goals he scores. They are just the normal Ruud van Nistelrooy kind of striker go.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
where they go, where the ball is going to land, and you always be the only person there to score that goal, and you are not offside at the same time.
Thankfully for Kachi, he's moving to Milan next week. So, sorry, I said next week, next season.
I
so
think
it's going to be a good one.
I think
It's our new Inzaghi.
The new
but for
Inzaghi,
me, I
right?
think it's the success so far. Like the question is,
Olari,
for
can
a
you come
player,
closer?
yeah, for a player like Origi who has spent so much time on the bench, for him to stay motivated, and anytime he comes in and he get this kind of important goals, I think it's just all about Origi himself. Sometimes it's just this reminds me of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at United. He hardly plays regularly, but anytime you see him playing, at times when players, I think Origi himself probably looks at that system and feel like, okay, these guys are better than me. But rather than going to a small team, battling with relegation, playing defensive football, chasing the ball around, I'd rather stay here, play a few matches, and be part of history. Because if either Origi plays one game or two games, it will be part of history that Origi won the Champions League with. In fact, you can't remove Origi's name in that Champions League.
Champions League, yes.
And even on the year they won the league, you can't still remove Origi. So I think for him, that is probably what do you call it, more important than just going to a team where they'll be playing defensive football and be chasing the shadow all around.
All right, perfect.
He's contented with the bench. Sure.
Yes,
yeah.
But at least
at Liverpool.
Trophies day.
But the truth is that I would like to point out is that for you to keep a player and make him contented for the bench, it's down to the coach and the way that player is being treated. He must have felt loved. If he did not feel loved, he would not settle for that. He's not a bad striker. That is the truth. He can still play in a mid-table team or even in a big team, so to speak, like a team like Arsenal, and still banging like 10 goals in the season. We've seen it like Lacazette, who happens to be the main striker of Arsenal, not scoring from open goal in more than 4 months. So what are we talking about?
Barbershop.
Of course, in the Italian Serie A, Torino defeated Spezia 2-1. Atalanta, after so much downward trolling for them, defeated Venezia away from home 3-1. Inter Milan showed Mourinho with the boss yet again this season after the Coppa Italia defeat, defeating Roma 3-1. Alas Verona playing a 1-1 draw against Sampdoria. Milan winning against Lazio 2-1 away from home, which is a good one for Milan, taking them back to the top of the league with 1 game more than Inter Milan. Girona 1-0 against Cagliari. Napoli being defeated away from home against Empoli 2-3, while Bologna and Udinese played 2-2. Of course, Fiorentina lost away from home against Satania 1-2 as well. And of course, in the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona lost away from home to Sociedad 1-0. Real Betis won the Copa Cup. Copa Cup. Someone should correct me, please. The Copa Cup against Valencia. Joaquin having won 2 of the 2 Copa del Rey that Real Betis has won in their history. Don't forget, Joaquin is a 40-year-old man doing it and doing it real big still. Iñaki, who cannot stop playing for Athletic Bilbao, helped them with a 3-2 victory against Cadiz away from home. Sevilla defeated Levante 3-2 away from home. Real Vallecano defeated Espanyol away from home as well, 1-0. So it looks like all the away teams were doing something real big right now, except for Barcelona that lost at home against Real Vallecano. Looks like everybody just simply won away from their turf this weekend. That's what it looks like to me. And of course, Real Madrid are not playing this weekend. So Manchester City should expect a fresh Real Madrid when they meet in the middle of the week. Kachi, before we go on the show, because we're about to wrap up right now, Milan, what are the chances? What are you looking forward? Anything, any words of advice for you guys right now that will help you get over the line?
4 games to go, 4 finals, play your hearts out. If you win all 4, and you still lose the title by 1 point simply because if Inter wins the outstanding, they go 1 point ahead. You can still hold your head high. Consecutive seasons in the top 2 would be seen as a victory.
Yeah.
The players have already received 1 year of Champions League baptism of fire. I think there's more experience there. And if Divock, Filippo Inzaghi, Origi comes to AC Milan, I think it also adds more depth. But it's actually their league to lose. I expect Inter to always have that Inter deep after every 5 games. So expect by the time it's match week 37, Inter is going to drop points and the league will be Milan's.
All right, perfect. That's the show, and that's the show, guys. Thank you very much for staying tuned with us, for staying on the show again. Once again, we appreciate you, and we'll be bringing the best again next week as we'll be reviewing the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference. Don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned to our channel on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on YouTube. Have a wonderful sporting week, guys. Bye.